What would you do if the person you loved the most turned out to be hiding a secret so big it destroyed your entire world? This is the story of Jared and Layla, a love story that turned into a nightmare of betrayal, rage, and tragedy. Jared Thompson was the kind of man people looked up to. At 35, he'd built a respected career as a firefighter, known for his bravery and selflessness. Outside of work, he was the kind of guy who always made time for his friends, helped neighbors without hesitation, and showed up for his family. But behind his tough exterior was a softer side. He was a hopeless romantic who believed in soulmates and happy endings. Enter Layla Monroe. Layla was everything Jared had ever dreamed of: vibrant, creative, and magnetic. A 28-year-old artist, she lit up every room she entered with her infectious laugh and unshakable positivity. They met at a charity art auction, where Jared, initially there to support a colleague, ended up captivated by a painting of sunflowers. It wasn't just the art, it was the artist behind it. Layla and Jared hit it off immediately. Their first conversation flowed so effortlessly that neither noticed the hours pass. Soon, late-night phone calls turned into dates, and within months, they were inseparable. For Jared, Layla was the missing piece of his life. For Layla, Jared represented stability and unconditional love. Their whirlwind romance culminated in a small but beautiful wedding at a lakefront lodge. Surrounded by friends and family, they promised each other forever. From the outside, it looked like the perfect beginning to a fairy tale. But as we know, fairy tales don't always have happy endings. Things started to feel off, Jared would later recall. Little things I couldn't put my finger on. The first year of marriage was blissful. They worked as a team, supported each other's dreams, and planned for their future. But subtle changes began creeping into their relationship. Layla became more withdrawn, her once transparent openness replaced with evasive answers and an ever-present sense of unease. One day, Jared noticed Layla acting particularly on edge when he entered her art studio. Normally her sanctuary, the room now felt like forbidden territory. Curiosity gnawed at him, but he dismissed it, chalking it up to his overthinking. But the signs became harder to ignore. Her phone, once casually left on the counter, was now constantly locked. Long trips to run errands turned into hours of unexplained absences. Jared tried to convince himself it was nothing. After all, he loved her. Trust was the foundation of their relationship, or so he thought. The day I found the letter, everything changed, Jared later told investigators. One evening, while Layla was out, Jared walked into her studio to leave a surprise note on her desk. But as he arranged the flowers and card, he noticed a small box tucked beneath a pile of canvases. It wasn't like Jared to snoop, but something about the way it was hidden piqued his curiosity. Inside, he found a letter that would change everything. It was addressed to Layla, but the sender's name was unfamiliar. As Jared read, his hands began to tremble. The letter revealed a secret Layla had kept buried, a secret she never intended for him to find out. Layla Monroe wasn't her real name. She had changed her identity years ago after fleeing her hometown. The reason? She had been implicated in a serious crime involving an ex-partner, and although she wasn't convicted, the scandal destroyed her reputation. The letter, from an old friend, hinted at Layla's fear that her past might catch up with her. Jared's world came crashing down. The woman he thought he knew, the woman he married, had been living a lie. When Layla came home that night, Jared confronted her. The tension in the room was suffocating. "Why didn't you tell me?" Jared demanded, holding up the letter. Layla froze, her face pale as she realized what he had found. She stammered, trying to explain, but her words only fueled Jared's anger. "You lied to me," he shouted, his voice cracking with emotion. "Everything about us is a lie," Layla broke down, pleading with Jared to understand. She told him about her past, about the fear and shame that led her to reinvent herself. "I didn't want to lose you," she whispered through tears. "I was scared you wouldn't love me anymore." But Jared couldn't hear her. Betrayal clouded his judgment, and his heartbreak morphed into a blinding rage. "I don't even remember what happened next," Jared later confessed. "It was like I wasn't myself anymore." In the heat of the moment, emotions spiraled out of control. The argument escalated, and before either of them realized it, the confrontation turned physical. Jared, consumed by anger, struck Layla. One blow turned into another until silence filled the room. When Jared snapped back to reality, Layla's lifeless body lay on the studio floor, surrounded by broken canvases and paint-streaked chaos. The gravity of what he'd done hit him like a freight train. He sank to the ground, sobbing, before dialing 911 to confess. The community was stunned. Jared, the hero firefighter, was now a man charged with murder. Layla's past became the center of public debate. Was she a victim of her own secrets, or did her deception drive Jared to the edge? The trial was a media frenzy. Jared expressed deep remorse, but the court didn't see his actions as justifiable. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Layla's story became a painful reminder of how trust, when broken, can lead to devastating consequences. Secrets can feel like protection, but they can also be the spark that ignites tragedy. This story reminds us of the importance of honesty and the destructive power of unchecked emotions.